All right, good morning. So for our next assignment, we're going to be working on making a ceramic birdhouse. So I've got a couple here. You can be as creative as you want to be. You can add as many features to your birdhouse as you'd like, but it does need to have an opening in the front and the back. And that's basically to facilitate glazing so that it's easy for the glaze to fill in and drain out. Here's another little example, a little more decorated. You can add little doors to it. You can add porches for a perch for the birds. If you want to put in little windows on the sides, you can do that as well. Okay, but again, an opening at both ends. So the way we're going to do that is make a nice big slab or multiple slabs. I've got cardboard templates for you. You're going to go ahead and cut out all the pieces. You're going to have a front and a back. You're going to have two short sides. You're going to have a bottom, and then you're going to have two roof pieces. Now on the roof pieces, if you want, you can use the rain gutter guards and the rolling pins, and you can press in and add the texture to the roof if you'd like, or you could go ahead and just leave it plain. So the way we're going to start this is we're going to start with one of the front back pieces. We're going to lay it down flat, and we're going to go ahead and cross hatch our edges where we're going to join. And what we're going to be joining first are the two short sides, and they're going to be built on top of this piece. So don't put it on the outside, but put it on top. And then you'll put the second one on top, and then you're going to put the next front back piece on top of that. So we're building the four sides of our birdhouse first. All right, so I'm going to get going here. I'm going to cross hatch and slip, and every time I cross hatch and slip and add a piece, I'm going to put a coil in the seam. By a coil, I mean a little worm of clay. You don't have to go outside and make coils with the extruder. Okay, so I actually already cross hatched some of these, so I'm just going through them one more time to try and speed up the process. Really important to add that coil or that worm of clay as you build each piece. That's what's going to help to give it a little bit of structure, a little bit of strength and stability. All right, so we got the first side on. Now we'll add the second side. As you're adding that, remember you're building it on top and you're just lining it up with the outside edge here. If you wiggle it back and forth, it'll kind of slide initially, but then the clay will grab or bite into itself and help it to grab hold. And just clean away the extra slip, and then put a coil in the seam. All right, so we've got two sides on at this point. Hold that up so you guys can take a look. Cross hatch, slipped, coils in the seams, on the inside seams. We won't worry about the outside seams at this point because we'll be scraping those later, and hopefully as we scrape them, that will reinforce the joints and hide those seams. If we do need to later, we can put a coil in the outside seam as well. So I'm going to cross hatch again, the top edges, and the outside part of this, which is our second front back piece. We're going to go ahead and paint slip on them. And what you can do, if you want, you can put this on top, but what I like to do is actually just pick it up and turn it over and rest it on top. And if you need to adjust, make sure they just line up with that outside edge. Okay, so just to give you guys a look inside, we've got all four sides of our birdhouse built already. The most important thing is that you are waiting until these pieces are leather hard before you assemble it. That's what's going to give it strength. That's what's going to help it stay together. So we're going to go ahead and put our roof panels on next. So we've got two of those. We're going to cross hatch where they're going to go. all along the top here. Again, I'm choosing to cross hatch with a fork just so it goes a little bit quicker. I'm going to go ahead and cross hatch both sides just while I'm at it. Okay. So now we're going to take one of our roof panels and we're going to go ahead and lay it down flat. We're going to take the section here and we're going to line it up where the tip or the rooftop would be at the tip here. So we're going to set it down just to line it up, and so we'll know where to cross hatch and slip. We want to have equal space on both these outside edges because we've got overlap of our roof here. So we want to make it look equal on both sides. Now if you want, you can take a ruler and you can measure it, or you can just eyeball it. So I'm just going to eyeball it. I'm going to trace where it's resting here so I know where to cross hatch. And I'm also going to do the same thing on the inside. I'll flip this back over for a moment. So you can see here, that's where I'm going to need to cross hatch. So at this point, I'll use my needle tool. Just a little more control with it than with the fork. All right, so we're ready to join that. I'm going to go ahead and do one last thing though. When we put these two roof panels together, you're going to see here that you're going to have this little channel or gap in the middle here. So you have two options. You can keep that channel or gap if you like the looks of it. You can roll a worm of clay or a coil later and slide in there and blend it in. Or if you want to smooth that off, over here on my desk, you can come up and borrow one, is a Sureform. It's kind of like a cheese grater. And so basically what you can do is kind of hold this at the angle that you think you need it at, and you can just go ahead and use the Sureform and grade back and forth and take away that edge so that you have a little bit. This one isn't working very well. We'll try one of the other ones. They're kind of old, but take away some of that clay by scraping against it so that you have the angle that you need. So when you put the two together, it'll be a nice match. So I'm just going to do that just slightly. And if I have any gap there afterwards, I'll just fill it in with a coil. Okay, so I'm going to paint these with slip. All right, now this part's a little tricky. Sometimes it's hard to get your hand inside. I'm going to take my watch off so I don't end up banging into it and putting dents in. But clean that extra slip out of there. Okay, so I'm going to try and hold this where you guys can see. And now I'm going to put coils on all three sides that I've joined there, and then blend them in. Just remember, everywhere you attach another piece of clay, not only are you cross-hatching and slipping it, but you also want to put a coil in the seam, and you want to tack it in, and then you want to blend it and smear it in. And it can be one full coil to cover the area, or you can use little pieces. So I'm just going to take my finger and tack it in here. And then after I get it tacked in, I'll go ahead and I'll blend and smear it in. So it's there, but it's not obvious that it's there unless someone is looking for it. Okay, hopefully you can see down inside. I've tacked that in. Now I'm going to blend it in. Okay, so I've got that pretty well blended in there. I'm not sure if the camera, I'm trying to do my best to hold it where we can get light to show you guys. But all three sides, coils in the seams, tacked in, blended in. Okay, so now I'm going to do exactly the same thing with the other roof panel. I'm going to set it down, I'm going to rest this on it and match them up, and I'm going to go ahead and trace where I need to cross hatch and slip. The last thing we'll join will be the bottom piece. And I'm going to cross hatch this middle section here where the roof will touch. Actually, I should trim that one first. Okay, I think that'll be a pretty good match there. All right, we're going to go ahead and put this one together. Okay, go ahead and wipe away the extra slip. And then once again, go around the inside, put a coil in every seam, and blend it in. That's what's going to give it strength. That's what's going to help hold it together. Also put a coil along that top seam where you joined the roof on this last piece. And again, it's a little tricky getting your fingers or your hand in there, but you should be able to do it. If you need to, you can use the backside of a spoon, or you can use the backside of the wooden knife that has kind of the curved tongue depressor end, and you can use that to tack it in, and if you need to, push it in and blend with it. Most often, you're not going to see the inside of the birdhouse. We want it built well, but if we don't get it blended in perfectly, it's not like it's going to be terribly noticed. And I don't think the birds are going to care. Okay, bit of a mess inside there, but I got the coil laid down on all four sides. So now I'm going to use my fingers the best I can and blend it in as best that I can. All right, so I have put that down inside, and I have worked to blend it and smear it in. So I've got coils in all the seams everywhere I've joined. So now at this point, I'm going to be cross-hatching the four sides of the bottom. I'm going to cross-hatch the four sides of the bottom piece, and then I'm going to be placing it on and joining it. Now this is our last piece. We've closed up the birdhouse at this point. I'm not going to be able to put coils in the seams, so what I'm going to do is just make sure I do a very good job of cross-hatching, slipping, pressing it together. Maybe I'll put some coils on the outside seams to help reinforce the join there rather than on the inside. And then I'm going to look around the outside of my birdhouse. I'm going to see the outside seams here. I'm going to take a rib tool and scrape them. If they don't scrape to where they're joined together to where I can't see the seam, then I will go ahead and roll a small coil and I'll put in those seams and then scrape them once more to fill in those gaps. I will do the same thing under the rooftop pieces here, just to make sure that I have a good join all the way around, and then I will also press this together and add a coil in the seam there as well. So at this point, I'm going to continue working on it, and when I get it all assembled and we're ready to start doing our decorative work, I'll come back and make another video. All right, thanks. See you in the next one. All right, so we're back here to continue with our birdhouse project, and I just wanted to show you guys, after assembling the birdhouse, the last thing I was doing was putting on the bottom portion. So I cross-hatched and slipped all four sides of the bottom piece as well as the bottom of the box. I put my bottom piece on, I pushed it on really well, and then I used a rib tool to scrape and smooth out the edges. I also used that Sureform. If you remember, I mentioned it's kind of like a cheese grater, and I used that basically to shave off these edges a little bit so that it would give me a nice profile continuing down the sides here, so that it was one continuous line or profile. Then I had this little edge here where the piece kind of wasn't cut exactly to match, and I like that little edge there. I thought it was nice, so I've just left it that way. I did go ahead and I put some coils here in the seams where I joined my roof pieces where I had any gaps. Also in the side seams where we joined some pieces, I put coils in the seams. I scraped those with rib tools and cards, and then sponged and smoothed over everything. So we've got the basic house put together. It's a hollow box. So the next thing you're going to do is to start to decorate it. And so I started on this side, and what I do is I go ahead and I cut out one opening initially. And the way I do that is I have an assortment of different Gatorade caps, some PVC tube pieces. I find one that's the size that I want, and I put it on top, try to center it or where I want it located. And then I go ahead and I trace around it with the needle tool, and then I use the X-Acto knife to cut it out to try and get it as nice and clean as I can. So I saved the little cutout, and then I just decorated that to make it look hopefully more like a door with a little doorknob. And I just used a wood tool, the backside of a wood knife, to draw little lines in the doors. And then I just used a hole punch that we have here in class to punch a hole so it looks kind of like a little peephole or a lookout on the door. I thought that was kind of fun. On the backside, I also put the doorknob on the backside back here. And so I will go ahead and continue working on it. I'm going to add a little perch on the bottom. I like to put a little canopy over the top just to decorate it and make it look a little bit cooler, a little bit nicer, more creative. And then I will decide if I want to go ahead and do something on the side, like windows, maybe little portholes, and I will definitely put another opening on the backside. So this is the state that my birdhouse is in at the moment. And again, I've only worked on it a couple times since putting it all together. But hopefully, as I continue to work on it, I'll add some other decorative touches. So this is one that I did last year. It's just in a translucent or a clear glaze. And basically cut out a little hole at both openings on each end. You can put the perch, you can put a canopy over the top. Sometimes I'll decorate it by just putting little indentations here with a wood tool, just to give the rooftop or the different things that are added a little bit more decoration or touch to it. I will at some point put a handle on it as well, so if I want to hang it, but it could easily just sit on a table outside on a patio for birds to enjoy. Or I guess if you don't want to put it out for birds, you could always put this inside your house, and you could put a small votive candle or a tea light inside, and if you've got openings cut into it, it makes it a nice kind of lantern or luminary. So be creative as you get to this point and add the different features that you want to add. I would just say don't make your handle too much taller than what you see here if possible. That way it accommodates me in being able to load them all in the kiln a little easier. And aside from that, just have fun with the project. I will work some more on mine to add decoration to it, and perhaps come back with another video showing you the finished piece. All right, so that's the assignment, making your birdhouse. All right, take care. See you in the next video.